Hello and welcome to Dr. Z Got a Minute. We're here today with our panel from Mitchell Nelson Elementary School, and our discussion will be centering on this word. It's the I word: inclusion, special education inclusion. Let me start out by defining that to our viewers out there. Inclusion is the assimilation of students who are disabled with their non-disabled peers in a general education classroom setting. And I do know that inclusion at Mitchell Nelson Elementary is off to a great start, and they have embarked on this journey, and they're here to tell the story about where they are and where they're going to be in the future. Today we have very special guests. Let's introduce yourselves and tell us about your level of involvement about inclusion, and where are you right now? Let's start with Ms. Lamb.
All right, I'm Karen Lamb, the assistant principal at Mitchell Nelson Elementary, and I coordinate a lot of our special ed programs within the school. Inclusion came about at Mitchell Nelson Elementary as a result of our faculty taking a deep look into what we really believe in. And we decided that we really and truly believe that all children should be included in everything that we do. From that point also, we looked at test scores. We talked with the State Department of Education and found out that they highly advocate inclusion. We talked to many of our peers across the state. We talked in the Rutherford County system and as well as the state level, and went to visit some models, looked at some programs that were working very well and had been working for years, and decided that we would like to embark upon this journey and try this out. It is proven that test scores will rise if you do inclusion. So we began to really come up with a plan for doing that this school year. We did a little bit of it at the end of the last school year, the last half of the last school year, just to pilot it, and it was off to a great start, just what little we did then, and so we decided that we would take that further this year. So we got a plan together, a timeline. We chose teachers who wanted to be a part of inclusion. We met many times with our special ed teachers, with our inclusion classroom teachers, and again, just developed a great plan. And we've had great success with that.
One of the things for inclusion to work, Ms. Lamb, thank you for sharing that, is we need leadership. Leadership that supports inclusion. We have our leaders here today. Mr. Lyles, would you like to talk about your leadership in moving towards the inclusion movement and bringing that to Mitchell Nelson?
Okay. Thank you. I'm Greg Lyles, principal at Mitchell Nelson Elementary. As Ms. Lamb indicated earlier, we first began this conversation with the State Department of Education consultants because in the prior year, Mitchell Nelson Elementary was on target because of our kids with disabilities not meeting AYP. So as a result of our consulting with them and our personal beliefs in the fact that kids need to be included, kids need to have a strong self-esteem. Having served as assistant principal for 7 years in Murfreesboro City School Systems and being in charge of special ed, I saw the issues with identifying kids, the issues with pulling kids out of the regular classroom 2 or 3 times a day, going down the hall to a special room, and the perceptions that those kids had to deal with from other children. You know, that didn't take a lot of selling for us to be convinced that that was the way we needed to go.
Okay. Thank you for that response. We are very, very fortunate to have the special education director from Murfreesboro City Schools to my right. I'll let you introduce yourself, tell us what you do. But after you do that, one of the issues in the inclusion movement is training. What do you do to assist the Murfreesboro City School System in that endeavor?
Thank you. I'm Priscilla Ventries. I'm the special ed supervisor for Murfreesboro City Schools. And according to federal law, according to the IDEA, all school systems, all public school systems have to move towards inclusion. And we are fortunate to have a lot of professional development in our school system, and general education has provided a lot of training in differentiated teaching, differentiated education. The real backbone to what really supports inclusion, though, is the leadership at the school and the teamwork. And that's the Mitchell Nielsen Elementary is a great example of how they did that. They created a team. They didn't force inclusion on anyone. They built the team from the bottom. They went up. They included parents, teachers, everyone in the process. And only those teachers that truly bought into it were the ones that were the pioneers. Then others see that it works and come on board. And it gradually just builds that way. You know, we do a lot of training in with teaching children with different abilities, but good teachers have always done that.
That's right.
They've always differentiated. And, you know, it's so many teachers just know how to do it, and some teachers fear it, not understanding they already know how to teach all children.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. One of the ways when I was special ed director in Williamson County, I always defined inclusion as an attitude, and as a perception to this attitude. I also defined it as a way of life. And there's something else about this word that bothers me personally. The word is inclusion itself. Let me explain. The word inclusion implies exclusion.
Yes.
Somebody is being excluded. My question to you out there is, who excluded them? And that's why we're having this discussion today about inclusion. Introduce yourself and tell us about your involvement with inclusion, and where are you?
I'm Cassie Holt. I'm one of the resource teachers at Mitchell Nielsen Elementary. I help more with the 3rd grade and 6th grade, and some in the 5th. We have been off to a great start.
Great.
One of our 3rd grade teachers is one classroom that I go into, and she was a person who was very nervous about doing it and scared, and now she loves it. She wouldn't have it another way. 6th grade, we level more in math, and it's been great because there's 3 adults in that classroom, and we can break up in smaller groups for more individualized attention.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I think it would be appropriate right now to take a look at exactly what your regular ed, general ed teachers are doing out in the field of inclusion, and how is it working for Mitchell Nielsen Elementary. Let's take a look.
Well, I work with 4th grade, and they are, that's the whole grade is included. All the students are in a general ed classroom for the entire day. And so during math, they're separated into groups according to their ability levels so that we can focus on their needs. And then during reading, we have some different groups as well where students can be pulled out that need extra support while they're still in the general education classroom.
Okay. And Ms. Carmen?
With this being our first year as inclusion teachers, I feel that we have made some accomplishments with including all students in a regular classroom. As Ms. Johnson said, we are grouping for math. We are having small groups within the classroom for reading and literacy. I feel that even the students that are not classified as special ed are getting the accommodations they need with the inclusion classes that we are providing.
Okay. For viewers out there watching on Channel 9, the question they probably have the back of the mind is probably, I've never heard this word inclusion before. If you had to inform them about this word inclusion and talk to us about 1 hour in the life of an inclusion teacher in a classroom, Talk to us about what you really do in this 1 hour working with these students. How do you prepare? How do you plan? How do you collaborate in the, to make this all happen? We're talking about putting students with disabilities with general education. Wow, that takes a lot of time and energy. How do you do it?
Well, as for myself and Miss Johnson, we get together outside the classroom. We talk about the students' needs. She works with, like I said, special ed students in the classroom, and even some students that are not classified as special ed. So we look at their needs and what areas they need improvement on, and we plan our areas of curriculum around their needs. We do have a literacy block of an hour. We have a math block of an hour. Both are inclusion, and we group according to ability. We work based on needs and try to provide all services for each child.
Okay.
One thing, especially with the 5th grade math that I also do inclusion with, is that we've tried really hard to incorporate manipulatives and planning when we can use hands-on activities with those students, because since they are grouped according to ability, we're trying to give direct, explicit instruction to all those students, not just the ones that are qualified. So the hands-on materials has really those have been really helpful for the students, so we've tried to get together and plan what materials can we bring in to introduce this topic and then move them to more abstract phase of doing math. So,
Okay. In your classroom, you have students who are disabled, students who have disabilities, and you have students who are non-disabled. Now, what are some of the perceptions of your non-disabled students having students with disabilities? Is this a comfortable environment for them? What type of classroom climate do we have in a classroom? I know, it's a little more challenging when you have someone with a learning difficulty there. Does it distract the rest of the class? Does it take up more of your time, more of your energy? Do you have any parents probably saying this is probably not a good idea? How would you respond to something like that?
I think we have a really good accommodating climate. I think that the students really accept each other, and they're good about treating each other nicely and kindly. And I think that when we are grouping students, we're not just grouping, well, you're qualified as special ed, so you get these things. We're just grouping all the students that need help together. And so I don't think that they're seeing each other differently. They're saying, okay, well, all of us need this help, and so we're getting it. So if parents had a concern, then I would just, explain to them that this is a way for us to help all students who need the help, not just the ones that are qualified for special ed. So some students who might not get those benefits are getting it by being in an inclusion classroom.
And I feel that the students, they don't see the difference. My classroom works cooperatively with one another. There's peer tutoring for those students that need the extra help. And even the high students, they're getting the extra help by being a peer tutor. So I feel that our classroom is doing a great job with everyone feeling at home, feeling at ease, and no one is feeling, left out. No one's feeling that they are higher than one another. They're all just working together collaboratively. I think that teachers have to look at the whole picture of their classroom, the makeup of their class, their students' ability level, their students' home life, the makeup of the classroom, how well they work together. And you have to just kind of put everything together and create your lessons according to the group of students you have. And I think if you do that and you plan your lessons according to your group, then your actual lesson will come out a better result.
Okay. How about you, Ms. Johnson?
I think I love here at Mitchell Nelson how we have every staff member in the building incorporated into the classroom. Like when I do 5th grade math, we have the music teacher, Ms. Kleppinger, in there to help us, and I think that's great because all the students really feel that support from the entire staff, that we want them all to succeed. And I think that that's part of the recipe for success for inclusion is that you do have to have as much support as you possibly can for each student. So having more teachers in the classroom when you're working with low students, that's a big part of it.